All right. How's everybody been doing this month?
Yeah,
Good. Very,
good.
very busy.
Same here as
And
well.
been experimenting a lot with Claude, building custom skills. And I made like a map full with markdown files with, okay, when you do this, then you do this. But I've built like a whole type of repository with, these are style guides and whatever. And it can all do it for me. So like now I ask it with the Copilot, I ask it, okay, I want this presentation in this style. You can find all the elements there, all the reports there. I need to present it to management. And then it just makes it.
It does. It's crazy.
It does.
Amazing, guys. Amazing. So yeah, that's
But what is
the cloud hype is real.
But what is the quality like? Do you have to like then spend a lot of time adjusting it, or is it like 1-2 minute check and it's pretty much good to go?
2-minute check. It very much keeps. So I noticed that hallucination has been down. Well, not as much as with ChatGPT, for example, because I just give it the constraints to just stay in the markdown files, and it just takes whatever is in it. So I notice like a very big, like positive. I'm very positive. It's very nice. It's not too much hallucination. Sometimes I need to adjust a few things because I use the combination with Whisper Flow. So I dictate to it. And sometimes like, okay, Whisper doesn't transcribe it correctly, and Cloud messes up, but it's very fast to correct it. I've been blown away, to be honest. That with the co-work. So like cleaning up my download folder has never been so easy. So yeah, I'm very impressed with what's been happening the past few weeks. Yeah, especially my workflow has gone like way easier. Vibe coding, a few tools that I need. I use a lot of cross-reference checks for like client and prospect lists, for example, to exclude them. And then I've been just vibe coding those apps. It just makes it. It's very nice. I still need to send you that, by the way, Carlo.
Yeah, I was about to say, you made me a promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully now made the switch. I turned off. Yeah, I know. I'm late. Yeah, thank you. No,
I
was
still pay, by
using
the way,
for what? For
for
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah.
What for?
I turned it off. I turned it off. I was a paying, but a bit of context. So I was a paying member since November 23. So it was 27 months. I checked it. But the reason, so I still have it to like, I think literally tomorrow or maybe like in 2-3 days. Anyway, I still have the where I work humans ChatGPT Pro. So should I need to use it, I can use that. Of course, not for too many personal things, but so I can still use that. So that's a bit of context.
Yeah.
Saving some money. I mean, it's crisis times, guys. Maybe I should charge
things
more
are
since you're
tight.
spending hundreds on all these tools.
But like the rate limits are fucking me up, to be honest, with Cloud. I'm like constantly waiting. I'm constantly like, you hit the rate limit. Shit, now I have to wait a few hours. 4 hours is it, I think? So life is just rate limit to rate limit.
I find myself always checking you can check the usage status on the settings, so you can see in real time where you're at. And sometimes I have to hold myself back, like, okay, I don't want to hit the limit while I'm in the middle of something important, and like, so that's annoying.
Yeah.
And the downtime as well. It seems like it's affected by a lot of downtime recently, especially even yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday it was like 2-3 hours of downtime.
Like, it was funny because I think like I've seen a few posts on LinkedIn about people saying like, it's like when in the old days the internet was going down and you didn't know what to do anymore. Yeah. It's like the world ends, stops.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah.
Even I'm on the pro plan, and I was last week, I was doing like 5 windows at the same time. So I use anti-gravity and then 5 Claude codes running at the same time. And after 3 hours, I hit my 200 a month Claude Pro or Claude Max or whatever plan. And it showed me the rate limits, and I was like, "Oh damn! Now I have to wait 3 hours."
Oh no!
I could also manually enable like the auto top up, but someone told me like, "Don't do it. It's like
it's expensive.
it's super expensive. It gets
Yeah,
like
'cause
to 100 to 200 and so on. It's super
they
easy.
charge you with the API rates, which is super expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw an article recently where they discussed like we're not making money on even the 200 a month accounts because those are being used by professional developers who use it every day. And like the usage would, I think it was like average about $400-500 a month. So they're
mhm.
actually losing $200-300 a month on even the pro plans. So it's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
But Claude is pretty competitively priced. So my ChatGPT was $20. I think my Cloud is 15 or 16, if I'm not mistaken, and you can do more.
Yeah, it's just the rate limits are different.
Yeah.
ChatGPT's rate limits are you can basically do as much as possible. That's what a lot of users are complaining about in the Claude Code versus Codex as well.
Yeah.
But even then, like you'd have to do you'd have to have 5 windows open to hit your rate limits. And even then, it's just like wait a couple of hours or do things a bit more slowly. It's crazy. I actually helped a couple of people transition from ChatGPT to Claude as well. And in the beginning, they're like, "But it's just ChatGPT. What's the difference?" And then I switched the tab from Chat to Cowork, and then I showed them like, "Okay, let's install some plugins. Let's connect some APIs. Let's install some skills," and then they see the difference. And that's the thing, right? The models are not that different. Like, okay, Opus 4.6 is a great model, but ChatGPT's models are really good as well. Gemini's models are pretty good as well. But the difference is in what Claude can do beyond just the model, the chat interface.
Yeah.
That's where the big difference is happening.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm kind of struggling to understand is like it can't be that difficult for ChatGPT to implement something similar to Cowork. And I'm wondering like what's stopping them from doing that. It's a big question mark in my head because skills they already have them in Codex pretty much.
Yeah.
You can use skills, so they've got computer use, they've got agent mode, they've got everything. They just I don't know. Is it pride? They don't want to blatantly copy, or is it just a positioning thing that they're trying to stick to? I don't know. Clearly it's not paying off because people are actually migrating. So
Yeah, yesterday I saw a screenshot of the US App Store where Claude took over the first place or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
apparently,
I mean, there's been a lot of factors there also at play recently. I think in that it's not just the fact that it's better, but also like ethical, political reasons. A lot of stuff going on with the U.S. government and stuff, which is kind of putting people off ChatGPT. So it's a lot of things, and the ads situation with the Super Bowl thing, like a lot of so much stuff going on there that it might be contributing to that. But yeah, who
yeah,
knows?
exactly. Claude made a couple of very good plays there.
100%.
Yeah, but for the
Yeah.
public. But I think that OpenAI is making more money on the private sector or for the military or for whatever. I think it's more a choice that they're making to try to go more that way than the Anthropic way. But I really I really like the way Anthropic's doing. Like they're posting a lot of nice articles as well. Like they also have like courses and stuff about how to use Claude and how to set up skills and whatever. So it's very nice. But I think they were going more to the consumer or the semi-professional way, while OpenAI is meaning like, okay, we're gonna go more to the public sector and to the whatever.
Yeah. I kind of had
I
my
think
view
that's
on
why.
that. I had my view on that because like recently I did a deep dive into how all of these companies, right, Google, Claude, Anthropic, OpenAI, how they are approaching it's sort of like their corporate solutions. And pretty much Google and OpenAI, they have a very similar approach, for example, with agents, helping like big companies like deploy agents. They've got their own frameworks, they've got their own solutions that are very much corporate enterprise friendly. whereas Anthropic, a bit counterintuitively, in my opinion, because their co-work clearly is positioned for people that do work, right? Like, so it should be tailored for that, but like actually they are taking a little bit of a different approach, and I'd like to see what you guys think about my point of view, because I haven't read it anywhere else, but I sort of come up with it. Because my opinion is that Google and OpenAI, they're sort of taking a top-down approach to the enterprise market, where they have their proper agentic frameworks. You can have, assign roles the same way that you assign roles to people. And so, they have OpenAI Frontier, for example, which is their own framework. And Google is pretty much the same, whereas Claude is taking a bottom-up approach, where it's like giving the power directly to the end user, whether it's a consumer user or a worker in whatever environment. If you're a freelancer, if you're in a small team, a large team, it doesn't matter. You can still do work. And so, to your point, Sabir, like I see where you're coming from with the fact that, yes, OpenAI maybe is focusing more on government and public sector and big corporations potentially. But on the other end, people choose Claude for work. They don't choose OpenAI at the moment. So it's a bit counterintuitive. So I'm keen to hear what you guys think about it, if you resonate with
you also
my
have to see it.
view.
You also have to see it from the buyer's perspective, because we're seeing it from a consumer view or someone who works actually with it. That's why we prefer to use Claude. But I think that the buyer or someone who's going to buy the technology from human, for example, that the models behind that are more like the OpenAI models or the Gemini models than personally Claude. I think you hit the hammer on the head when you said Claude is taking a bottom-up approach while the other ones are taking a top-down approach. I think that's exactly it.
Yeah, we'll see what plays out to be the best choice in the end. I don't know.
What this reminds me of is the news from Apple a couple of days ago, I think this weekend, that they've now put agentic coding in xCode. So now you can do in Apple's official coding thing, they have embedded the fully AI. I could be wrong, but I believe this is actually the first thing Apple released with their full AI available inside something Apple related. I could be totally missing something now. But in any case, I've been messing around, talked about this in, I believe, our first episodes, that I was working with anything.com to create some apps and stuff, same as Lovable, whatever, same as a Replit or something like that. But now you can actually do it inside of Apple's own environment. I haven't played around with it, but I think this kind of went under the radar, where I think this is actually massive news. Massive. That Apple is doing this as the first thing. Am I right here? That is the first thing that Apple has like fully embedded AI in some tool, or am I totally
I think
missing
from a coding perspective, I think you're right. Like from obviously from a consumer perspective, they tried with Apple Intelligence a few years ago, but
it's shit. It's
we
bad.
all know how it ended.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think they're going to make a comeback with it? Don't you think, because I think that Apple just has the money to pay OpenAI, and they're going to launch their new model, and it's going to be great, I think. Just for Apple or something.
xCode is with Claude, by the way.
Really? Oh.
And they do have a partnership with Google. I think they openly said that they're going to use Gemini for their own models on iPhone and things like this. So I think they're probably trying to differentiate as much as possible, to be honest. It seems like it. Yeah, it makes sense.
I think also, I think Apple was actually was not following their typical strategy, which was wait until the market basically innovates and tries stuff, and then pick up all of the good parts and then make it super consumer friendly. They didn't really do that with Apple Intelligence. Like they were pretty early to the party, basically, and I think it was just shareholders pushing or whatever, some kind of other vision that they had. But it flopped because the features weren't there, It wasn't super friendly. The actual benefits weren't there. Yeah, you can now create an AI image of yourself. Okay, cool. We've been doing that for a long time now. So I think it's also like they're used to implementing these at a slower rate, but like 3 months in AI world is a major, like is a huge deal. 3 months, 6 months, like a lot of stuff happens in those months. And I think they have to reshape how they launch new products and launch new innovation. Because they were usually the ones that just let the Samsungs and the Googles and all and so on, they let them innovate. And then at some point, or they let them experiment, basically, and then they make it an innovation. That's what I see the difference between an invention and an innovation. Like they're not inventors. Apple is nowhere near inventing stuff, but they find out a way to make it feasible for the big markets and improve everything that is already there. That was like Apple's thing, right? Making it just work, just making it work.
Making it seamless.
Yeah,
And they
I think you're right.
couldn't do that with their AI stuff.
I think you're right. I think they probably, I mean, just bringing myself back to, when ChatGPT launched in 2022. I think that was probably like, obviously it was a big surprise for pretty much everyone when that thing was actually released. And I think it probably hit Apple even harder because of what you just said, Casper, like their whole approach being wait and see. They didn't, that wasn't the right thing for Apple, because you can't just wait and see when a bomb like that is dropped, like ChatGPT, something like that happens. You can't just wait and see. And so they did try, then they tried to fix it with Apple Intelligence like a year later or something, more or less. It flopped, and now Samsung is doing crazy stuff with their phones. I don't know if you guys seen the S26, all the AI features that they have. Like it's incredible what they're doing. It's the stuff that you would expect Apple to release. And yeah, so I think eventually they will probably catch up. In my opinion, they'll probably try, and I mean, I think they will even succeed, because at the end, let's face it, like their customer base is so huge, and their branding and their positioning is still the strongest. So eventually, when they will release something that is good, I think it will stick anyway, and people will love it. So probably they do have that sort of safety net in a way that comes from the brand and their distribution as well, because there are billions of iPhones out there, and billions of people that are actually gonna buy every new iPhone that comes out. So regardless of the AI features or not, but they can't stretch that forever. That's my view. I think they are at the point now where they have to properly do something about it. And yeah, maybe Gemini will be the right thing for them to build on. It seems like they've taken their decision there.
I've been
Have you
reading.
guys? Go ahead,
I've
Charlo.
been just quickly been reading about the S26 because I didn't know that came out. But I'm just gonna quickly read two features that are actually pretty cool. Just have to see how it works. But they have photo assist, which they already had, but they improved it apparently. So you can type whatever you want, and the AI will alter the photo, like lighting and shadows and stuff like that. But of course, you need to. Now we do this in an external tool. Now it's embedded, so it's pretty cool. And they called Nudge, which is a contextual assistant that will give you like the right suggestions at the right time. So one of the items that they list here is quickly shareable photos when somebody asks about it. So when I take a photo of the cat of my girlfriend, she says, "Oh, can you send it to me?" Like in a text message, I would assume it'll pull the latest photo of that cat up or something. So obviously I have an iPhone, so I can't practice or test these things. But that seems pretty cool. I didn't know this came out at all.
Yeah, there's more stuff as well from an agentic standpoint as well. I think they demonstrated some agentic features for commerce, for example, where you can just say, "Hey, go order myself a pizza," and it does it for you. And you can decide to what extent you want to give the freedom. Like you can just leave it and do its thing and trust it fully, or just be involved like every step of the way and sort of approve each decision. But the fact that they're doing it already and it's a phone that is now on the market, like this is a big, I think, thing for Apple to like, consider and acknowledge and do something about it.
Because that's actually what people want. Like for myself, I want the AI on my phone. I'm going to be like, okay, book my meeting at another time or reschedule it or whatever. That's what actually I'm looking for and what I'm still missing today. Like people have been trying it with OpenClaw or
Yeah.
OpenClaw, right? Or has it changed names already? Modbot.
Something like that. Yeah.
So people have been trying it, but I still think it's nowhere near, or like people have been trying it and then, oh, it's fucked up. It bought 5,000 Pringles for me or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I still feel like it's still missing. That the fully agentic, fully like, okay, I don't have to supervise it. I can let it do its job. In my opinion, I don't know what other people are doing, because when I see on LinkedIn, everyone's doing like, oh yeah, it books all my meetings. I have my own full-time marketing assistant. But okay, what's the output? I want to see the output that stuff gives. And I still think that's nowhere near to the level that we want to see it. I don't know. Have you guys tried something like that, or?
Yeah, I didn't install OpenClaw specifically, but I basically asked my code base. I basically wanted to have my full Claude Code, everything that I created in there, available with Telegram or iMessage or whatever. And I just shared the GitHub repos of like OpenClaw and some other repos that extend OpenClaw and so on, and just told it like, analyze it and give me all of the best practices without any of the security stuff that might be wrong, so that I can like send prompts to like a Telegram message as an assistant. And I have that, so I can send my Telegram assistant a message like, hey, can you draft a message for my Gmail or whatever, or book a meeting, that stuff, and it works. But it's like that's like this much. I mean, it's 1% increasing productivity, maybe. I didn't really understand the full hype of OpenClaw, because that's not where I see the huge productivity hike, or I didn't really get it in the beginning. Like I looked up a lot of information, and like I think I was not the only one, because on Reddit a lot of the people were just asking like, okay, but what do you do with it? um, it can book my flights. Yay. I don't know. I don't fly every week. Maybe for people who have a sales job and fly all over the world in the US or whatever. Sure, that might be cool. It can read my emails. Okay, but like sending a message to your assistant like, hey, open my last email. I mean, just click the Gmail app and you have your last email.
Exactly.
It's not that it's not faster. Maybe for like longer tasks, like, okay, I want to do a trip to Japan next week, and I'll be staying there 3 days. I want you to book the restaurants and the hotels and all of that stuff. Sure, maybe longer sequences of tasks, but all the rest is like nothing. 1% increase of productivity, maybe, or time wasted.
I totally agree with you, Casper. There. Sorry, because I have 2 minutes and I need to drop off. And then I just want to add this note at the end. I think what OpenClaw is like the perfect example of raw capabilities that are not packaged in a proper product. And so I think what people got excited about was like, oh, wow, all of a sudden AI is capable of doing all of that stuff. But then the question you ask is like, what do I do with it? That is the question that normally you answer when with a product. When you put it and package it in a product, then that answer is more obvious. And I think that's a good way probably to summarize what OpenClaw is. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Sabir. I just yeah.
No worries. You kind of said what I wanted to say, but just a little add-on to that. No one trusts any AI to book their whole trip to Japan. No one.
Exactly.
So It's basically, what do you do with it is a question. That's true.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway, guys,
I've seen,
I'll let you continue because I need to drop off. And yeah, always a pleasure to chat. See you next time. Cheers.
bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and that's where I think like the whole Apple intelligence thing, like they should have bought OpenClaw, because like that would have been the huge stepstone for Apple intelligence, right? If you like what a I don't like opening my iPhone and then scrolling up and then opening the ChatGPT app or the whatever app and then asking it to do something. Like I just want to say, hey Siri, book this, do that, put it in a note, email it to me, and send it to a friend. Done. And then just drop my phone again. Like they have all of the technological, it's there. Like they don't have to reinvent it, right? So why is it not happening? I mean,
I just think they don't want to be first movers. I think it's too risky right now. Imagine if they adopt the technology and there are big security risks or whatever. I think they just don't want to risk it at first. So they they will let everyone else take the fall first, and then they're going to just acquire them. And they have the money to do it. So
Yeah,
I think that's their strategy.
I agree. I think Apple cannot afford, like you just said, Casper. Or you guys both said they make it seamless. Like the whole thing is from Apple is that it never breaks. My AirPods Pro, they broke. I cannot sync them anymore. They broke. It's very rare that they break. But when it happens, you're like, how can this break? This is Apple. But when you have some other brand and it breaks, you're like, okay. So I think exactly what you said, Sabir. I don't think they can afford any mistakes to touch their brand image, because I believe it's quite fragile, these type of things.
But then is the question: did they mess up with Apple Intelligence or not? But that's another question. But I just wanted to hate on the FOMO creators on LinkedIn with the Open Cloud Mac Mini. This is just that was just my point.
I mean, the hype was real, and I think there are some pretty cool use cases in there, especially the self-learning capability, right? So, like, it doesn't know how to create designs, but then it finds design skills by itself, installs them basically, and then suddenly it's like the Matrix, right? It's Neo just putting in the thing in the back of his head, and then putting in a card and then saying I know kung fu. Like that's the whole thing that is crazy about it. It's self-learning. You can just plug a USB port in and then suddenly it knows something it didn't know 2 minutes ago, or didn't know how to do it. So that's cool, but the actual use cases, for a personal assistant, I think are pretty vague. Maybe if you're a CEO that manages 4 companies at the same time, like an Elon or whatever, sure, that could be interesting. But I think he already pays someone or a lot of people to do that for him. So um, I don't see the personal assistant. I don't see that use case right now. I see the professional use cases though, like asking it to do SEO research, check Google Analytics, compare the differences, check perplexity for competitors, combine all learnings turned into an SEO report. Based on that, create content pillars that match these SEO data and so on. So like that stuff, like the actual working professional stuff, that's where the huge gaps are.
But yeah, Ale, it's like the bottom up approach. Huh? So it's good for all the people who are executing stuff, but like as you said, like personal assistant, I don't think it's nowhere near where it needs to be, or that we don't trust it enough. So yeah, it's just good for the repetitive tasks that don't require much decision making, I guess.
Yeah, but
No,
as
it is
well,
what it is.
what you said, Casper, it can like learn its own things, which that's really cool, because now what you need to do beforehand, or still depending on what you're doing, is you need to upload or give links to, hey, here is this thing, right? So I was effing around with some agents for the content at Human, where I do basically exactly that. I put in like a bunch of our competitors, and this was OpenAI did that, ChatGPT did with the agentic mode, like made the full thing, and then I put our stuff in there. I put our some internal data in there, to make sure that I have all this context, and then put it into massive PDF files and text files, and I uploaded that to my cloud so it can take that, right? It's a bit of a different use case, but the idea is kind of the same, where I had to do all that work still manually to some degree, which is, all in perspective, obviously. But now things like that, it can pull totally from itself. So it's even taking, it's amazing to see that it is continuously taking all the manual steps you need to do and automating it, like the whole AI flow, right? Which also, like, Sabir, you've been using Whisper Flow since 4 months or something like that. It's the same thing, and you don't need to manually type it anymore.
And it even gets better at understanding me. So it understands my accent, and like every day I notice it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. But yeah, Whisperflow, I'm a big fan. It speeds up the process 100-fold. So it's very good.
A question I have for you guys is like you both work in different organizations. What do you see other people in the organization do with AI, basically? Because I still I see a lot of people just struggling and not figuring out how to actually turn it from rewrite my emails or summarize it for me to actual productivity gains. That's what like the MIT research and so on, they all showed it, like a lot of investments, but the actual gains are not really there. Do you see actual AI use cases in your companies?
On the development front, yes, but that's normal. That's also their job. But on the personal use from like other departments than developers, I don't really see, to be honest. I just rewrite my emails, check for spelling, that kind of stuff. I still also like a lot of every week someone comes to me, we need to do this with AI, we need to do this with AI, this integration for outbound messaging or whatever. And I can build it in Clay, for example, but it's not consistent enough to work without guardrails. So I still have to every time manually check the messaging or whatever before we launch the campaign. And I think that kind of beats the purpose. So like right now we have like a whole automated flow where we can do like custom messaging if we want, with enough guardrails that I'd semi-trusted to send the messaging, but it's still not, it still takes way too much time for me to set it up that I could have set it up a normal campaign, for example. It's not like it's testing all the reporting from itself or stuff. But I see some people plug in Claude into HubSpot and making it pull data from there with Claude Code, actually. So I haven't experimented with that one personally, but I think that's the closest thing to cutting productivity that I've seen in the last month or so.
Well, this is a little bit different because Human itself is very much an AI first tool, and about half of our team, something like that, is sales and customer success. And I mean, it's literally what Human is built to do, is support sales teams, and now customer success also, since we're doing more account management as kind of an extra module now, or well, an extension of the product. So obviously they use it every day to prep their meetings and to optimize and make their whole flow more efficient. Our dev team is using it. I asked them about it like a little while ago, and what I could tell is that they're not necessarily fully relying on it, but at least using it. But I don't know in detail. Then our chief growth is constantly using mostly the lovables for innovating the product, and then talking to the dev team about that. And then myself, I'm like I just told you with the agent thing, I'm basically using it pretty much every day as well. So I think in our company, it's made a massive difference. And of course, it's a bit different, like I said, our actual tool that we use is AI. But we are fully adopted. I don't know a single person in our company that is not using this basically on the daily.
But there's also a difference between I'm using AI to to do spelling check or to write emails for me, and like I'm genuinely using AI to like shrink the time, how long I have to do my job. So
Right.
like for me, for example, okay, we use Lovable to make landing pages and stuff. Yes, 100% agree. But I can't imagine sales doing, I built this bot and it's going to do calls for me. They still have to do the calls manually. They can maybe use it to write the script or something, but I still think that's like a minimal impact. Like, I don't know by heart, but I'm sure there are tools like Donna, I think, and they're like, oh yeah, it does the calls for you and stuff, but I have still yet to see it being implemented in in countries daily. Maybe just to pick up on that real quick, if you put your iPhone onto US, you can put like call screening, and then when someone calls you from an unknown number, it tells you, who is this and what are you calling for, and then you can see it on the message. That's the only thing I've seen that's like, okay, it's semi-AI, but it's still not AI. Sorry.
It's funny that you bring up Donna because it's kind of a pseudo competitor of ours. But it's different. Again, I'm not going to glaze human too hard on this one here, but we do the research of the prospect and the company of the prospect, and it links it to what your company's offerings are, right? So if you're a consultancy with like 50 different things that you need to do the discovery with the client and you need to reach out to the client, it will tailor everything. So in that sense, it's very much doing the efficiency part. But again, it's not obviously my actual sales people building stuff in clouds. They're also not, they think it's probably cool, but they're not really into that world or bothered by it. So in that sense, obviously not. But in general of AI use to go beyond write me this email, which is of course a part of it, but it goes beyond, then yes. But again, we are kind of different maybe than the traditional company.
This comes back to my post that everyone hated, but I think still like it's a minuscule amount of people that are genuinely using AI to do like the productivity part, and a lot of people are just using it, like I said, Casper, rewrite my email, and I still think it's a minimal percentage that's using it really to like 100% automate and be more productive.
It's interesting because then it comes kind of down to, well, they need to know about it, one, I guess, right? But second, like maybe the UI is still not good enough for them to actually use it. It reminds me of the Apple thing, right? If you just indeed want to say like, hey, I'm not going to say it because I'm using my phone as a webcam and might F it up. Automate this for me, then perhaps more people would use it because they know about it and it's integrated in their life, and it's even better UI or UX in this case. Even though it's already, we're in that world, it's crazy easy. For them, they don't really know about it, and perhaps it is hard to use to set up a cloud skill, you know? You have to Google it if you don't know what it is, right?
It's yeah, guardrails and UI.
Yeah, and especially for sales, like, I mean, the reason why I asked this question is because, like, I don't think people really have figured out like how it will impact their job. And I still think a lot of people, especially people with human interaction, like sales, think like, oh, my job is safe and we don't need AI and all that stuff. But like all of the admin part that a sales needs to do, which is probably like 50-60% of the job, next to being in meetings and trying to actually help the customers and figure out their buying options and so on, or describe product features and so on. Like all of the other stuff, sending proposals, sending, um, preparing the call feedback, the meeting, checking out ICP data, all of that stuff, like that can all be done with AI. Um, and the awareness is just not there yet. The awareness about these use cases, I mean, human sells it. I don't know if like, I guess my assumption is they come into meetings and a lot of the times they have to still explain like what is possible even. And a lot of people are very skeptical about it, like, yeah, but does it have the right data and so on. So same with marketeers. I try to pitch marketeers every day about AI marketing capabilities, and they're like, yeah, but I tried ChatGPT for tone of voice and I still have to adapt it every time. And yeah, but the research that it does, it's not accurate. And like it creates blog posts, but it's not optimized for our audience. All of those typical objections that like they don't make sense because they didn't do it correctly. They didn't do it the way they should have been doing it. And so I found a lot of resistance and objections based on nothing, like just awareness that they didn't have, or they tried something and it failed because they tried it a year ago, but a year is so fast. That's I don't know. I don't know if you read the article from, I don't know, what's the guy, Schumer, like some developer. I don't know if we can link it somewhere.
Yeah, you've sent it.
It's, if you read that, you just, I get scared for a lot of people in marketing, sales, accounting, legal. It's what do you guys think about it? Do you look at it like positively or more?
I look at it super positively because I know that like where we are positioned, I think that we're pretty good. I hope so. But I still think that for a lot of people, they're going to lose their job. But I think it's only better. It's going to only be more competitive and more competitive. It's our competitive advantage that we're interested in this stuff and like looking it up and trying to be better. So yeah, and just to pick up, it would also be really nice if the tools fill the CRM in for you. So if you do the call, a sales call, and it does VAT and stuff, it just fills it in. That's a good tool for you, Mene Carlo. I'm gonna send my invoice later for that.
Yeah. Add it on top of the other invoice they're gonna send. We are working on CRM integrations, by the way. No, but I agree.
Would be perfect.
Yeah. Not to that level, of course. If you work with enterprise, it's different. You can't just ship it and expect people to, make sure it works. But I agree. And the Schumer article, I did read it. I dropped it in the chat. There is one sentence, if you kind of scroll a little bit, that's in bold, and it says, "I'm no longer needed for an actual technical work of my job." And I had a pretty divisive LinkedIn post a couple of weeks ago where I said, like, yes, I don't need to build like a good MVP. I don't really need a developer. And then the argument came like, yeah, but what about cybersecurity and infrastructure and all of that? Yeah, sure. But again, for an MVP, I don't need it. I am more than capable enough to execute pretty good. And then it came to what we dropped in the WhatsApp chat. It's not that hard anymore to build something. I think us as kind of marketers, we are actually pretty good because for me now, I have 1,000 of ideas, and if I have a week, I can build 5 of them in a work week. But now the hard part is how I'm going to find the audience and market it. Because I need to, if I want to make a social app, okay, yeah, I need to make content on TikTok and Instagram. So I need to make an account, and then I need to find a name, and I need kind of the branding for that, and what kind of ads am I gonna run. So it's more that part. I'm not even thinking about how am I gonna build the app, oh no, and the database setup, and how I'm gonna do the UI. No, I don't need it anymore. So I think the article is spot on. It's called Schumer.dev / something big is happening for people that want to read it.
And the guy's called Matt Schumer, by the way. And also, you guys should check out haven.gg. It's a project that Carlo is working on.
Yes, we're going to probably make it open source, by the way. So it's going to be not quite involved. This is also something kind of not AI related, maybe, but Discord, very famous, of course, for communities and online chat. They are going to introduce a face and government ID for verification. They need to do this in the UK because UK law now needs to do it. If you're underage, you can't have access to certain communities or whatever. I don't know in detail, but they're going to roll it out in broad, and now they've kind of stepped back a little bit because the backlash was that big. So me and a friend, we use it every day. So we're like, yeah, this is kind of ridiculous, and now we can probably build an alternative. So, but of course, it's a lot of work, and I don't have the time, or maybe I don't know the willingness of becoming Discord 2.0. So we're probably going to make it open source. So perhaps it's going to be a bit more on the download. And also, I'm not a dev on that project because that's an example of I could build a decent MVP, but that's probably a little bit beyond my capabilities. So for that, there is a developer who is using a lot of AI for it, obviously. Yeah. All right. We're 45 minutes in. That's usually kind of our cut-off point, unless someone has a final note to say.
No, good ending. Nice, guys.
It was
Indeed.
good discussions.
For sure. I'm looking forward to next month already. Oh.
But I'm happy to do it, and I'm not the only one hating on the OpenClaw or Molbot guys. By the way, I'm gonna buy a Mac Mini when everyone cools down and wants to sell theirs.
Don't do it. The RAM is too.
It's fried.
They like I don't know if you've been following the RAM stuff. The RAM.
No.
It's gonna get even crazier now with everything geopolitically that's going on. The gamers are gonna get stuck with old hardware because like a decent RAM is now already more expensive than the highest tier graphics cards. Like if you need a decent build for a PC, you're already gonna pay like 3,000-4,000 at least.
Yikes.
I bought RAM for my gaming setup little less than a year ago, and I have to double check, but I got 32 gigs in total, which is not even that big, but for playing Counter-Strike, it's plenty. I paid maybe $100 per stack of 16 gigs. I think so. I think it was 99 or maybe 90. And I think if you need to now buy 30 gigs of like the kind of, I think it's 6,000 megahertz speed, probably 400 at least. I think it's at least 4x, just because it's all used by the AI whatever thing. So it's actually crazy.
So it's a pretty good investment.
Yeah, do you want to buy it? $400.
It's the new Bitcoin, guys. Buy and hold.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. Nice, guys.
You
Cool.
get in 2 weeks? Or
it's more like 4 usually, but perhaps we can do ones quicker than that.
Give me a bit more time to experiment with stuff, because one of our devs has been working with instead of, so I don't understand it exactly, but he's building like agents, but with NVIDIA and not with Claude or Codex. So he's going straight to NVIDIA, and he's been trying some stuff, but I don't understand what he's doing, so I'm still gonna ask a little bit. But it's very interesting. He says, "Oh, it's way cheaper because NVIDIA is the one giving credits or whatever to OpenAI or Claude." I don't know how it exactly works. I see you nodding, Casper.
I've read about it, but that's like the technical level that I don't understand. And that's where it gets interesting too, right? Like people need to become way more technical. Like marketeers in general need to become way more kind of developer. It's easy to build an app.
But you have to understand how to build it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm building one right now, and still it's like, okay, it's already way better than a year ago with Replit and all of those tools. Like I'm just using Claude Code and some skills. I'm building the app and still hit roadblocks every 20 minutes or something. So
Error fest.
Yeah.
But a developer has those too.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly. I think if you're a developer now, I wouldn't find the time to do anything else than just to ship products, man. I mean,
by the way, I opened nvidia.com, and the homepage it talks about the AI agents, like literally on the homepage. So I'm guessing this is pretty big. If you scroll down a little bit, like see agentic AI in action, literally they have a video like just below the fold of this alone. So I'm guessing they're like putting a lot of chips on this particular product or service line. So yeah, interesting. Let us know next time how, like, what the tests have been from your colleague or yourself. I'm very curious.
All right.
Cool. All right. Thanks, gents.
Bye, guys.
Ciao. You guys, subscribe, like LinkedIn, share on LinkedIn, go to Haven, and thanks, huh? Bye-bye, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.